Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Kris. This channel features nothing but ASMR.
That sounds sexy.
Okay, I'm done. All right. All right. This is part 4. Sakib sponsored. Seerah of Prophet Muhammed 22, Night Journey and Ascension to Heavens. Click. See how easy it was? If you could do that for me, it helps out. You can sponsor a video clicking on the thanks button. It's somewhere down here. Click on that bad boy, donate to the channel, request a video. You get a nice little sponsor shout out. All right, this is the last part. Don't mind me. I have some tortilla strips. Hint of lime. I'm phasing. And I'm back and I'm glitching. I love how that works. All right. We're back to not glitching, but apparently something's wrong. All right.
But this is an encounter right now between the original form of Jibreel and the Prophet ﷺ. فَكَانَ قَابَ قَوْسَيْنِ أَوْ أَدْنَى, and then فَأَوْحَى إِلَىٰ عَبْدِهِ مَا أَوْحَى. After the encounter with Jibreel, he moved on to an even higher encounter, where Allah inspired His servant with whatever He inspired. There's secrecy here. You guys don't need to know. فَأَوْحَى إِلَىٰ عَبْدِهِ مَا أَوْحَى. All you need to know, 50 salawat. Right? So Allah doesn't mention the details, as we already said. We don't know anything. فَأَوْحَى إِلَىٰ عَبْدِهِ مَا أَوْحَى مَا كَذَبَ الْفُؤَادُ مَا رَأَى. The chest is not lying in what it saw. Allah ascribed the vision to the chest because the eyesight absorbed it in. And when He's speaking the truth now. مَا كَذَبَ الْفُؤَادُ مَا رَأَى أَفَتُمَارُونَهُ عَلَى مَا يَرَى. Are you going to argue with him with what he saw? You're going to argue, what knowledge do you have? He knows what he saw, and he saw the truth. لَقَدْ رَأَى مِنْ آيَاتِ رَبِّهِ الْكُبْرَى. He saw of the most amazing miracles and signs of his Lord. What did he see? Sidrat al-Muntaha, Jibreel, al-Bayt al-Ma'mur, the heavens, the samawat, the earth. He saw the Jannah and Nar. All of this he saw. لَقَدْ رَأَى مِنْ آيَاتِ رَبِّهِ الْكُبْرَى. So this Surah Al-Najm summarizes for us Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala defending the Prophet ﷺ and praising him as having seen everything, and then praising his bravery and courage. مَا زَاغَ الْبَصَرُ وَمَا طَغَى. That the eyes did not go beyond, nor did they transgress. In other words, as we said, the eyes absorbed all that they saw, and they were supposed to. And Allah says, لَقَدْ رَأَى مِنْ آيَاتِ رَبِّهِ الْكُبْرَى. Inshallah ta'ala, we will open the floor for Q&A. Next week, we'll come back and we'll continue the journey down, and then the journey back from Jerusalem to Mecca, and then the next morning, what happened when the Prophet ﷺ woke up and he had to, and he did wake up, by the way, and that's another controversy, because the phrase says, I woke up. So does this mean that it was a dream, or does this mean it was a physical transportation? Again, that's the controversy we'll talk about as well, inshallah ta'ala, next Wednesday. We open up the floor for a few minutes of questions, inshallah, and then break for Salat al-Isha. Yes.
It seems if we had to do 50 prayers, we would not have to worry about food and all, and that would have kept coming, because obviously that's the mercy of Allah if we had to do that. The question is, you talked about the pen writing and that action is going on. Would it be right to assume that the qadr of Allah is being written all the time? It is that dynamic event. This is not something that's being done non-stop, because there seems to be an event which is going on, and the prayers can change that, or the prayers can modify that. So it's a dynamic event.
So the question is, since the pens are still writing, does this mean that the qadr is still being written as we speak? The response is, it's a very perceptive question, by the way. The response is, there are multiple levels of qadr. And in fact, to be academic, there are 5 levels of qadr. There are 5 levels of qadr. There is the al-qadr al-azali, which is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wrote before He created the heavens and earth by 50,000 years. There's a qadr al-azali. This was before Allah created anything. Allah Azza wa Jal wrote down everything that would happen. There's also the qadr that is the yearly qadr, right? There's also the qadr that is the lifetime qadr, that when the child is in the womb of the mother, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala writes down, the hadith is in Sahih Bukhari, writes down عمره and عمله and شقي أو سعيد, all of this is written down, right? There's also, by the way, Laylatul Qadr is the yearly Qadr, right? Laylatul Qadr is the yearly Qadr. There's also a Qadr that is a daily Qadr. كل يوم هو في شأن, right? And that's a daily Qadr. Every day there is decisions and things going on. So, certain types of Qadr never change. The Qadr al-Azali never changes. Other types of Qadr, the daily and the yearly Qadr, they can change, and Allah has already decreed that they're going to change, but nobody knows this other than Allah. Even the angels don't know this, right? And so the daily Qadr, for example, it might come down in the daily Qadr that to the Malak al-Maut, that take the soul of so-and-so, take the soul of so-and-so. And the Malak al-Maut, by the way, every one of us has a Malak al-Maut. Every one of us, there is an angel whose only job is to take our soul when our time is done. قُلْ يَتَوَفَّاكُمْ مَلَكُ الْمَوْتِ الَّذِي وُكِّلَ بِكُمْ. There is Malak al-Maut that has been assigned to you. The purpose that this angel exists is to take my soul and your soul. And you have an angel and I have an angel. And that's his job. He's just waiting for it. Whenever the command comes, that's what he's going to do. That's why Allah created him, right? So, the commandment comes down on the daily Qadr that you're going to take the soul of so-and-so, right? I didn't mean to point at you, just take it back. But one day it's going to happen. He was the one who asked the question, okay. But one day it's going to happen, me and you, right? So, one day the Malak al-Maut will be told, you're going to take the life of so-and-so. That is the daily Qadr. It is possible that at the very last instance, the Prophet ﷺ said, if you're good to your relatives, you will increase your life. Silatul Rahim increases umr. Right? For example, there are other things that increase umr as well. So, on that day, you happen to be generous to your relatives. And somebody was being rude to you, but you swallowed your pride and you said, whatever, I'm going to be good for the sake of Allah. At the last instance, Allah has already decreed al-Qadr al-Azali, right? The angel doesn't know. Everybody thinks, the angels think, khalas, this is his last day on earth, right? But you've done something and Allah Azza wa Jal sends the decree that give him a respite, give him another year, another 5 years because of this act, right? And that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَمْحُ اللَّهُ مَا يَشَاءُ وَيُثْبِتُ وَعِنْدَهُ أُمُّ الْكِتَابِ يَمْحُ اللَّهُ مَا يَشَاءُ وَيُثْبِتُ. Allah will erase whatever He wants. And Allah will allow to stand whatever He wants. But He has Ummul Kitab. And that's the Qadr al-Azali, right? Which doesn't change. And Allah knew that it would change because of what you had done. Okay, other questions? Yes.
Just on Malakul Maut, you said that there is a Malakul Maut for every individual.
Yes, and there is a head Malakul Maut as well. Yes.
Yeah, the one Israel. So that's different from.
Yes.
Okay.
Sisters, any questions? Yes.
So Al-Qanim, she had to pray 3 times a day. Do they not believe in this hadith about
Can you repeat?
I'm not going to repeat the question. Sorry. This is a bit of a very controversial question, so I'm not going to repeat. She said that some groups pray 3 times a day. Firstly, the group that you mentioned does not pray at all. So they don't pray at all. The group that you mentioned does not pray. They do not pray at all. There are other versions of that particular understanding of Islam pray 3 times a day. They pray 3 times, but they pray 5 prayers. So they believe that, basically, imagine you are always a traveler on this earth, so you can always combine Zuhr and Asr and Maghrib and Isha, let's say. So they combine Zuhr and Asr and they combine Maghrib and Isha. Okay? And so they do pray 5 prayers, but they pray them at 3 times. So it is incorrect to say that they only pray 3 prayers. They don't pray 3, they pray 5 prayers. No Muslim group in classical Islam that did offer prayers prayed except 5 times. This is unanimous consensus of all Muslims who pray. But the group that you mentioned do not have a sharia. Their sharia is abrogated. They don't have a sharia, so there is no halal and haram for them. There is no salah and zakah for that group, so they don't pray at all. Okay. Yes, go ahead. What's the real story? We don't have any real story. The real story is lack of a story. We do it because the Prophet ﷺ told us to do it. This is mawdu' fabricated. There is la asla lah in the Kutub al-Sunnah. Go ahead.
Allah's throne is carried by 6 angels, right? So which level are the angels?
وَيَحْمِلُ عَرْشَ رَبِّكَ فَوْقَهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ ثَمَانِيَةٌ.
So what level are they at?
يَوْمَئِذٍ, on that day, the day of judgment.
What about the hadith when the one Sahabi died and Allah's throne shook?
Allah's throne shook, yes, that was Sa'd ibn Mu'adh. Sa'd ibn Mu'adh. هَزَّ الْعَرْشِ, the throne shook. What about it?
That was the day of judgment then?
La. So the throne shook. So Allah's throne shook. I don't understand the question, I'm sorry.
The angels shook.
It doesn't say the angel shook it. It says هَزَّ الْعَرْشِ, that the throne shook. It doesn't say the angel shook it. It says Allah's throne shook. Now there are descriptions of the carriers of the throne, but the ayah tells us that it will be brought on the day of judgment. وَيَحْمِلُ عَرْشَ رَبِّكَ فَوْقَهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ ثَمَانِيَةٌ. Right? So, now again, this is, subhanAllah, we don't have a map, of the samawat, right? These are all guesses that people have. So, one understanding, and this is the understanding that I think can explain all of these ahadith and ayat, is that above the Sidrat al-Muntaha, there is nothing other than the throne and the one who is above it. There is an interpretation that says, as you very correctly pointed out, that there are a category of angels separate from the angels of this world, and Jibreel is... But see, the problem therefore would come with this interpretation, that Jibreel would therefore not be the best angel, and we know Jibreel is indeed the chosen. We know this from numerous ahadith, and also نَزَلَ بِهِ الرُّوحُ الْأَمِينَ. Right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَا فِي الْقَدْرِ تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَالرُّوحُ فِيهَا. So Allah mentions one out of all of the angels. Allah mentions one. وَالرُّوحُ فِيهَا. So clearly, Jibreel is the best of angels. If we were to say that there are Hamalat al-Arsh right now above the Sidrat al-Muntaha, this kind of sort of might clash. Others can say, well, it doesn't. They have a job and Jibreel has a job. So the bottom line, nobody can be sure. But Allahu A'lam, the interpretations that suggest that that is going to occur and that there is a category of angels who have been assigned to do that job on the day of judgment, this does seem to make sense. Wallahu A'lam. Final questions, yes?
If there's no question on this, I think it's the month of Rabiul Awwal. I think it would be probably good for advice about the Milad Nabi stuff that people do. I mean, it's pretty common thing. I think it's a good idea to let them know what that's good.
I'm counting on the halwa dua
for the more academically inclined, I have a very long article on Muslim matters about the history of the celebration of the Prophet's birthday, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I encourage all of you to read that. It is around 25-30 pages long, and inshallah, without any exaggeration or immodesty, it is the most comprehensive study in the English language about the history of the celebration of the Prophet's birthday. And you can just Google it with my name. It is on Muslim Matters, a 3-part article. And in it, I clearly point out that for the first 600 years of Islam, the celebration of the Prophet's birthday was unknown in Sunni lands. I say Sunni because it was done by the Fatimid Ismaili dynasty, and they had it actually on the 13th, not even on the 12th. And eventually, in a very faraway province, it became popular in that province around 610 or so, AH 610. So 600 years after the death of the Prophet, it started, and then it just spread after that time. And initially, many of the scholars opposed it. And there are a number of fatwa in the 7th century of scholars saying that this has no basis to it. But it turned out to be a very popular celebration because this is a very slippery slope. Love of the Prophet ﷺ is a very slippery slope because it's very easy to exaggerate that love. Because everybody loves the Prophet ﷺ, right? And that's why the Prophet ﷺ said, be careful about exaggerating praising me. And he said, hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim, لا تطروني, do not exaggerate in praising me. You know, even in Urdu, itra. Itra means exaggeration in praising, right? لا تطروني كما أطرطت النصارى عيسى بن مريم. Like the Christians did with Jesus Christ. A perfect hadith that shows what happens when you let your love go blind and uncontrolled. Perfect example, right? Our Prophet ﷺ is Sayyid waladi Adam, Khayru khalqillah, Imamul Mursaleen, Sayyidul. We keep on going on and on. But he is not the object of worship. He was sent so that Allah be worshipped and not him. And therefore, these types of celebrations, لو كان خيرا لسبقونا إليه, if there was good in it, the Sahaba would have done it, the Tabi'un would have done it. The fact that they didn't do it shows that that they didn't consider it. In fact, as I said, even the day he was born, if you remember, we said it's unknown. And this shows that the Sahaba did not make a big deal of it, right? The true birthday of the Prophet, if you really want to celebrate it, it should be done every Monday by fasting, right? And you're never going to find these people who defend the 12th of Rabiul Awwal wanting to fast every Monday. And wallahi, in this there's an indication something is wrong, right? There's a hadith in in Muslim, where the Prophet was asked, why do you fast on Monday? And he said, because on Monday the wahi came down to me. And on Monday, I was born. And he went to 2-3 other things. So if you really want to celebrate the Prophet's birthday, it's a weekly event. And how do you celebrate it? Not by halwa and puri. Sorry. But by fasting from halwa and puri.
I can have that in the evening.
Alhamdulillah.
You can have it and break your fast.
Nonetheless, I say that, brothers and sisters, please be careful here as well. Bid'ahs are of levels. And some bid'ahs are trivial compared to others. And if people gather together to sing the praises of the Prophet ﷺ in a legitimate manner, and to mention his seerah in a legitimate manner, and they do it on the 12th of Rabiul Awwal, thinking that this is encouraged, this is a very trivial matter in the grand scale of things. Had they done it on any other day, it would have been completely permissible. Suppose we did it today, what we're doing, right? So if we did it on the 12th of Rabi'ul Awwal, and we thought that, of course if it was an accidental 12th of Rabi'ul Awwal, it's fine. But if we thought that there's something extra on this day, I mean, it's such a trivial thing. So we should not cause controversy. We have far bigger things to worry about than to divide the ummah. I know some groups will celebrate the Mawlid, even here in Memphis, right? Let them go and do it. I'm not going to give a khutbah against the Mawlid, because most of the people who celebrate the Mawlid, let's be brutally honest, don't even pray 5 times a day. So why should then I prioritize something like this at the expense of something far more important, right? Tell these people, if you really love the Prophet, why don't you pray more often? Just, change it like this, right? Okay, what you're doing, it's coming from good intentions. We don't doubt that, right? It's coming from good intentions. But the true celebration of the coming of the Prophet is by following his message. قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِ يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهِ. Ibn Abbas said, this verse is called the verse of the test.
What group, because he's mentioned it a couple times, what group doesn't pray? And which group prays 5 prayers but 3 times a day? I mean, if he's not talking about it, it must be something that's like, I mean, clearly it's frowned upon. I can tell by that. Not knowing the Prophet's birthday, that just seems wild to me. But I guess, record keeping wasn't exactly the same, so it makes sense. Anyways, I had to pause it because I realized I'm just eating chips and hummus and just enjoying the chit chat, so I better pause it and ask some questions, otherwise I will forget, because I was going to ask at the end of the video. But I got to stop it now. And back to the video.
This is Ibn Abbas speaking. This verse is called the verse of the test. Say, if you truly say that you're loving Allah, the proof is in following me. فَاتَّبِعُونِي. Then Allah will love you. Right? So, for those who are celebrating the Mawlid in a legitimate manner. What is a legitimate manner? Seerah, in Pakistan, knots that are permissible, because there's knots that go to impermissible levels, right? Knots or hymns that are permissible, in that, they say khayru khalqillah, Allahumma salli ala al-habib, this general stuff which is permissible. What is impermissible? To make dua to the Prophet ﷺ. What is impermissible? To say that he is Noor Ilahi. What is impermissible? To go beyond what our religion says about him. To stick to the Quran and Sunnah, and then to do something on the 12th of Rabiul Awwal is a matter that I find so insignificant that I don't give public talks against it. And had you not asked, I would not have said anything. Right? I don't like it, and I don't participate in it. But as an ummah, we have far bigger things to worry about. And therefore, if you have friends or relatives doing these things, don't come barging in and saying, shirk, bid'ah, kufr, haram. Understand that. I'm being serious here. Understand that they're doing something based on their good intention, and there's a time and a place to correct them, and there's a methodology to correct them, right? And whenever you say something is bid'ah, always provide them the opposite, the sunnah. Because the problem comes...
If you just walk in and say, hey, what are you doing? You can't do that. You're going to turn them against you. In terms of they're just not going to listen to you. I've been doing this, this has been approved, and they're not going to listen to you.
You become the one with the stick, and you never come with the carrot or the honey, right? Halwa le karaja is good. Bring the halwa and say, don't do your halwa. Come, bring halwa to MIC on Sunday. Let's do this. Who agrees that Dr. Nadeeb should bring halwa next Wednesday, right? Yes, okay. So next Wednesday, we've all ijma' unanimous, right? That instead of the halwa over there, have halwa over here, okay? We all agree now. We've solved your problem for you. You can have your halwa and eat it too. Inshallah. With this happy note, inshallah, they're all looking forward to halwa next week.
All right. That was good. I'll start 23, but I don't know how soon I'll get to it. Thursday, Friday, I will not be recording. I have 5 more videos to do, and I'm done with all of next week's. So if I do any of them, I'm trying to get into the garden to plant Saturday. So if I do any, it might be Saturday. No. Sunday, no. So next week would be the earliest I'm guessing I can get to them. All right. Well, I'm going to end this here. I hope you enjoyed. And until next time, have a good day. Have a good night.